Hi everyone. Thank you very much for coming and for watching this presentation. So, first of all, let me start a little bit talking about the blank collar. So, the blank collar is the future of all kinds of workers. Why? Because the blank collar is, where is it going? Okay, maybe starting very quickly, okay. Okay, it's that. Okay, 1 second. Yeah, ocean film. Just give me a second, some technology problems. Okay. So maybe let me tell you a little bit about the history of the blank collar, how it actually started. The blank collar principle started around 5 years ago in New York. And I was sitting and I was invited to talk about the future of work for the New York Times back then. And 1 second. 1 second. Okay. I'm sorry, somehow it's moving by itself, so I have to take a look at the slides myself. So when women know it's a boy. Yeah. Boy. Good. Okay. Thank you. Okay, you know what? Let me just talk because it doesn't seem to work somehow. Okay, so again, let me start from the very beginning. So work is for bots, life is for humans. This concept was invented 5 years ago because we all know that we have blue collar workers, we have white collar workers, and the blank collar is the worker of the digital transformation. So what does it mean? Just think about all those good paid jobs of the last few decades, like auditors, lawyers, bankers. All these are very specialized jobs. What we see right now through advanced technologies is that those jobs are being automated right now. And what is important is that people are much more in focus. So what's happening actually right now is that we become much more human again, in control of technology, being able to leverage our human capabilities, which is like problem solving, creativity, communication. And the reason why I actually want to present this here in Kosovo is because Kosovo for me is a blank collar country. What I see based here for several months right now is that many people here in Kosovo are generalists. So I have been in a presentation a couple of weeks ago where they were talking about outsourcing of people. The problem is people here in Kosovo are basically not the typical outsourcing country people who are just dedicated for one specific job. They are more the generalists who like to work on various fields, which makes them perfect for a blank collar. Because a blank collar is, as the name says, without any color and is able to do several kinds of jobs. So what I have developed over the last decade is, I have created an equation. One slide more. Just 1 second. So let me talk about the equation that's going to start here right now on the slide. Yeah, this one. So I was thinking about if you want to translate if you want to transform a company, I always thought it's actually quite easy to transform a company because this is the job that I'm doing for the last 15 years. Going in multinational companies, trying to transform them to become more agile. And the more I was trying to make the equation easier, the more I understood it's not easy. If you want to transform a company, it's actually quite some work. So this is why I created this equation over the last 5 years, and I just want to explain it a little bit to you what it actually means. So the equation always starts with the vision and the mission. This is how it always starts. Every single company needs to understand, first of all, they have to generate their vision and they have to create a mission. Once they have this, they have to understand the D. The D stands for data. If you understand the data inside of your company and you can track the data inside of your company, you are in control of your company. And how you are going to see this equation is you always have to start from left to right. So after you have the mission set, created the mission, and understand the data inside of your company, you basically go into the inner circle, which means culture, process, knowledge, technology, UI, and UX. Why have we put technology not above but below? We all know this very cool term, digital transformation. For me, that's shit. Why? Because digital transformation is just a buzzword. At the end, the people who work inside of digital transformation are still humans. So what you actually need is to understand, first of all, create a culture within your company. That's number one. Number two is you have to understand the process. If I go to companies, the first thing when I ask them, what is your process? Well, yeah, we do somehow work. If I try to let them explain it to me, nobody has a clue. It takes me a long time for them to understand what the process is. After that, we have knowledge. You see it's square. Why is it square? In companies, knowledge is always within silos. So what you have to do is to break the silos and to connect the knowledge together. And the knowledge is then not knowledge plus knowledge. It's actually knowledge plus knowledge is actually square. So the sum of knowledge together creates a much bigger one. I'm going to explain this later. And then at the end, after you have all this set and done, all those companies talking about AI and this kind of stuff, AI is very nice, but to enable real powerful AI, what you need, you see here the A times 3. It actually means automation, augmentation, and AI. What does it mean? Augmentation means offshoring. Automation, like the word says, automation. And AI is only possible if you understand the data. And if you have created real technology, user experience, and user interfaces for your employees, for example. So, next one. I don't have time to explain the whole equation because it would be more than the time that I actually have right now here to explain it. So I just took one part of it. What does innovation mean within the company? Innovation is culture plus processes plus knowledge and technology and communication. And I'm going to break them down right now to explain them to you just very shortly, just that you understand what it actually means. So let's go to the next one. Okay, let's talk about culture very quickly, and we can move already to the next slide. So if you think about culture is more and more important in every single company. It's something that when we were talking about blue collar and white collar workers, if you think about it, you are working in an office, you're typing on, doing some Excel work, etc. That's not human work, that is actually robot work. So right now it's even more important in an age where you really have to work with knowledge. It's very important that you have a very clear culture defined. You understand the values which are based on your vision and mission, and that you put it into the heads of your employees. If you cannot make that happen, you will lose your employees within the company. It is something that I see many, many times here in Kosovo. I have a company here which is called Numerix. It's a fintech startup. And when people come to apply and I see their CVs, I see so many companies on their CV. And they are only 22 or 23. How is this possible? So what happens, they come to my company and they have done like 50 works and 50 companies, and they were just like they're 22, 23. That's not possible. How does it happen? It happens because you don't put an emphasis on culture. If you have a culture, strong values, a vision and a mission, you actually have employees who can actually identify with their company. We have somebody here that I know very well, who is Benjamin Kolenovic with Growzillas, for example, who I work with together. They have a very strong culture in their company. If I ask him, how long do your people work in your company? He says several years. This is very, very important. So this is more about the culture part of the equation. Let's go to the next one. Process. Let's go to the next slide. When I talk about process, you have to, myself, I'm a very chaotic guy, very chaotic. If you would ask my mother or my sister or whatever, like my room looks like shit. I need people to actually clean everything up for me. But what I have learned as somebody who knows chaos is how to create a framework to actually work very well within it. And this is why process is so amazingly important. Process is important to understand. It's something that's ultra boring. If you go into a company and you just name the word process, people throw up. Why do they throw up? Because they think, okay, shit, what do I have to do with this? But process is actually, it explains to you where something starts and where it ends, and what are the bits and pieces in between to make something happen. Only if you understand the process, you are able to change. This is not just for the company, that is general. That's for your life, for everything. People just go through life or through a company and they don't understand the process. They know that somehow everything works, but if you ask them how it works, they cannot define it. So it's absolutely important to understand the process, because once you understand the process, you are able to make changes. So this is the part of the process. Let's go to the next one. Knowledge. You have to understand, like right now, we live in an abundant world. I've talked to several people in this country and many other countries where I am, but I'm just talking right now about Kosovo. How is it possible somebody tells me, yeah, the universities are not very good here? You don't need to have good universities. Knowledge is accessible everywhere. You have YouTube. You have Udemy, you have all kinds of platforms that actually help you to upgrade yourself. When it comes to the companies, knowledge is something of the most important IPs that you have inside of your company. And that is also the problem that I see in this country that many people don't seem to understand. So when I see, for example, people applying to my company here in Kosovo, and I see that they have worked in several companies before. What they don't realize is that every company has to invest into the people that come into the company. That is knowledge. Once the person moves into another company, that knowledge is left. If you are a good company, what you actually do is you document everything and you have everything accessible. And then when somebody new comes in, they can actually profit from that accessible knowledge. But the big problem is that to accumulate knowledge, it takes time. You cannot just work 6 months or 12 months into a company and think that you can advance. It's just not possible. So this is why it's very important in the companies to really be able to aggregate this knowledge, because every company has smart people. Every company. Like there's no possibility that you don't have at least, if you are 10 people, you have at least 2 very smart people. You have to make the knowledge accessible to everyone. If you make it accessible, everybody profits from it. Next one. Technology. What is the most important thing about technology? So I myself, I'm a huge fan of Star Trek. Why am I a fan of Star Trek? Because when I was little, I remember when my mother said, why are you looking this shit? This is never going to happen. Everybody of you has an iPhone in their pocket right now. So it happens. We live in a time right now where technology is accessible to everyone. And the thing that many companies in digital transformation just don't seem to understand is that the technology needs to adapt to the people and not the people to the technology. And the reason why this always happens is because companies start with digital transformation inside of the company, but what they completely miss is the process. So after you understand the process within your company, then you can decide how do you need to modify the technology to actually adapt to the way that you work. And not like trying to force people to work in a certain way which has just no sense with a kind of technology. I have seen this over and over again. Right now, Dentsu, where I work, I'm in the global leadership board, we have more than 60,000 people. The worst thing that can happen is that when you try a digital transformation project with a technology that the people on the ground don't like, they are not only that they are not going to use it, but they're going to leave the company because they just don't want to actually work with this software, for example. It's very bad. So this is why technology, and this is why I mentioned in the beginning Star Trek. There was an episode in Star Trek where there was a small child and he was creating like a very nice statue with a laser. And one person goes there and he says, how did he do that? And then the other person says, he already had the sculpture in his head. He just needed the technology to bring it out. And this is exactly the same thing that you have to do in a company. In a company, you use technology to augment the lack of capability that you actually have as a human. Like, remember, for example, and this is why I'm such a big fan of technology. Technology democratizes success. For example, myself, I have a fintech in Kosovo. I have no clue about finance. No. Okay, I have a little bit right now. But why is it important? With technology, I'm able to access knowledge and make it accessible to others that was just not possible before. Why can I do it? Because I make knowledge accessible, I understand the process, and I build the technology to support it. Next one. Communication. This is something that is absolutely underutilized in almost every company. If you think about communication, the biggest success that I had in every company was when I was able to streamline communication within a company. Why? Because it has also effect on the knowledge. Like, you can have all kinds of knowledge within your company, but if you cannot make it accessible through streamlined communication, you're not going to be able to access it. If I still see people using email, I throw up. Email is the worst thing that you can have within a company. Why? Because it puts knowledge into a casket, which only a few people can access. So when you're inside of a company, try to always make knowledge transparent. And also when you use communication, what you always need to do is to create a structure. I'll give you an example. I'm pretty sure lots of you know, for example, Slack or Teams or whatever. The worst thing that you can do is to give it to your employees and say, for example, okay, now use Teams. What's going to happen is everybody's going to create a channel, and this channel are 2-3 people, and they're going to use the channel for a couple of days, maybe weeks, and then the channel is going to be abandoned. So there's no structure. Why? Because you didn't have process in the beginning. If you would have had process and you would have predefined the channels, then you would have accessible knowledge and you would have streamlined communication. So what you see about innovation, what is innovation? Innovation is a recombination system. So if somebody tells me I have created something new, that's not possible. Everything is already created. The only thing that you can actually do is to bring things together, put them together into a new form, and that's basically what innovation is. Innovation is just the access of knowledge, streamlined by process, communicated to like an end-to-end, I'm repeating, like a communication system. I think that's the next one. Yeah, that's it actually. So just very quickly, just to sum it up. Everybody is talking about digital transformation. Everybody is talking about what is going to happen in the near future. The thing is just that the future is already there. We had the pandemic, which made a complete shift in how companies run, and nobody has really the answer about how to run a business. The answers is already there. The problem is there's no framework. So a little bit what I was just showing you right now is the framework of how you can do that. I'm currently in the process to publish a book, which is called The Blank Color Equation, and which is actually going to talk about the equation that you saw in the beginning. If you have more questions or something, you can go to our social channels or the website. I hope this helped you a little bit for the future, and thank you very much. Okay.